Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, starring Jim Carrey, the movie that blends a massive production design with manic comedy, emotional storytelling, and performances that has practically become a holiday mythology. Let's break down what works and what doesn't, and why this movie continues to dominate December even more than almost three decades later. When this movie came out in 2000, it had a massive challenge, expanding Dr. Seuss's book into a full-length live action film. The result is a holiday spectacle that's loud, colorful, messy, and emotional, and completely unforgettable. Whether you love it or you think it's a little too over the top, one thing that is guaranteed is Jim Carrey owns every second he's on the screen. One of the most interesting choices this movie makes, it gives the Grinch a full backstory, something we really haven't seen in previous films. We see him as a child, his insecurities, his heartbreak, and why he separated himself from the whole community. It adds emotional layers from the original book that the book never had. The Grinch's hatreds for Christmas, the foundation, turning him into the villain that we know today. We see more of a backstory as well of Cindy Lou Who, and she's really the emotional core of the film as well. She's the only person willing to question Whoville's obsession with gifts and decorations and holiday competition. Her scenes give a much needed warmth and sincerity, which balances out the wild energy that's in the film with all the rest of the other characters. Now, there are downsides to this film. The runtime is a little long. The Whovillation scenes can feel like non-existent. It creates a bit of a visual chaos. And even though every frame feels packed, it does feel a little claustrophobic with a lot of the characters. A lot of them kind of jump in and out of the story. Let's talk about the performances from Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Jim Carrey is unleashed shape-shifting mode, turns the Grinch into a living kind of a cartoon character with every facial expressions, every body confrontation, and perfectly delivered. The physicality alone makes him insane. His moves, his rubber, comedic time, his razor sharp, you can feel he's improvising in a lot of scenes. The moments are some of the film's funniest. Taylor Momsen, who brings heart to the film, is calm, gentle, and surprisingly grounded for a child actor. Her performances are very emotional and collapsing and emotional, and you can really connect to her, especially if you're a young kid. The Whoville is intentionally exaggerated, but it's basically a walking, talking Christmas decorations. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's a little cartoonish. The tone, it doesn't really work for me. The Whoville characters, I didn't really connect with those characters. I thought they were weird looking, and they didn't really have any emotional connection to those characters. The Whoville is built. The best part of this movie is the Whoville is built with practical sets, swirling architecture, bright colors. Dr. Seuss's imagination really comes to life. And to me, that's the best core of the film, is the real sets, the real makeup, the real Grinch costume. If this movie was made today, it would be a CGI fest. And I think that's why, one of the reasons why people love this film so much, is that they created a real, authentic world. You feel like you're in Whoville. You feel like you're immersed in this world, which gives them a big advantage and keeps you connected to the story. There are issues with the direction, and the tone is probably one of the biggest criticisms of the film, and also one of the good parts. The Christmas story circus, the emotional scenes, especially following the Grinch and surprisingly well, they add depth to the character, making film transformed and feel earned at the end. The tone jumps around a lot. The film shifts from childish slapstick adult humor to sentimental drama. Sometimes in the same scene, there are moments where it feels like the movie can't decide whether it's for kids or for adults. And I think that's one of the biggest criticisms of the films. Tonally, it's all over the map. So the film hits the emotional peak. You see the Grinch transformation, of course. You see the clear message of Christmas. It's not about gifts, it's about family, kindness, community, and connection, and also redemption. Grinch's story is about isolation, rejection, and learning to belong again. The film that even people who annoy us, frustrate us, and act often come from a place of pain. At the end of the day, delivers a Dr. Seuss message. Christmas lives in the heart, not in the presents. What's wild about this movie that it didn't get great reviews when it was released. It was a full-blown holiday. Now it's a full-blown holiday staple. Grinch is now even more iconic than its original animated adaptations. These clips dominate social media every December. The memes, the facial expressions, the movies embodied itself into holiday culture. Even though, despite its flaws, it's still a Christmas classic that families all around the world watch on every Christmas. And I think that's what really is the most important thing about this film, that it holds the test of time, and that to this day, almost everybody watches The Grinch, and that this character has lived through generations and generations, and it will continue to in the future.